everybody, and welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So I have a bit of a book haul today. A couple of things aligned for this book haul to be made possible. The little bookstore that is in my local library I've been like hitting the mark lately with it, and usually I walk in, I might find one or two every so often. But the last few times I've been in, I've been finding some really good books, some really good finds. So there's that. There is some book of the month books in here. And then we have, where did this box come from? I don't remember where that comes from. What else do we have? I think, yeah, book of the month. Not book of the month. Yeah, book of the month, library book haul. And then I met let's see, who did I all meet? Amanda from The Curly Reader, Amber from Books and Beaches, and Katie from Life Between Words. We all met in La Crosse and did some book shopping, and I found some stuff there too. So we're gonna jump into it because this might be a little long. All right, okay, so we're gonna start with the few that I've kind of been picking up a little randomly. So first one, I did grab this off of Amazon. I absolutely love Frederick Backman. And so this one follows, and now I'm not thinking of the two books that this comes before this. Oh my goodness. Beartown and Us Against You. Those were by far my favorite. A Man Called Uwe, it's pretty high up there too, but this is kind of the conclusion from that. I was somewhat skeptical, a little nervous, but then when we were all together, I think Katie was talking about this, and I got excited, and I think even as we were having lunch, like went on and bought it. So I picked this one up. I'm excited. This one might be like my between Christmas and New Year's break, big old chunker to get through. Then of course, when I was at Costco, I picked up Mad Honey from Jody. Well, Joni and Jennifer Finley Bolin. I haven't heard the best things about this, but I didn't hear the best things about Jody's last book that I really, really loved. So I'm such a Jodi Picoult fan, and I've read pretty much everything of hers. There's a few I haven't, but I just couldn't help myself. So picked that one up as well. I don't even know what it's about, honestly. It's a novel about what we choose to keep from our past and what we choose to leave behind. That's clear. So anyways, and then I stopped at Barnes & Noble. I had a couple of gift cards for my birthday. So I met one of my good friends from work. I met her there for lunch, and I spent those gift cards. So my friend Amber works there, and she happened to be working that day, and whenever she's working, she just comes and finds me and hands me things, and I buy them. So I purposefully went there for Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. This book, my sister, and she listened to a lot of books. She listened to and then immediately listened to right away again and cannot stop talking about it. And it's usually the other way around. Usually I'm the one promoting the books to her, but this one, she can't stop raving about, and I keep hearing really great things about it. So it's a twisty psychological thriller about a mother who witnesses her teenage son stab a man and then seizes on an unconventional way to try and save him. And basically it goes backwards in time, giving her an opportunity to stop this from happening, is the gist that I'm getting from it. So I'm really excited. Again, my sister can't stop raving about it. So this is what I went there intentionally going to pick up. And then these are the three that Amber made me buy. One of them is Otter by Catherine Applegate. Love Catherine Applegate. So this is told in verse, and it is about a mother otter who takes care of her pups. And there's a map. So she basically gave it to me and said, this had me in a puddle on the floor, and I needed to have it because apparently I need to share that experience with her. Great. So I'm going to save this for middle grade March. And then on the buy one, get one 50% off table, she also was raving about The Appeal by Janice Hallett, which I had not heard of this one, so I'm super excited about it. When murder your 15 suspects, can you uncover the truth? So we have the Fairway Players. It's a local theater group. It's in the midst of rehearsals when tragedy strikes the family of the director, Martin Hayward, and his wife, Helen, the play star. Their young granddaughter has been diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, and with an experimental treatment costing a tremendous sum, their castmates rally to raise the money and give her a chance of survival. But not everyone is convinced of the experimental treatment's efficacy, nor of the good intentions of those involved. As tensions grow with the community, things come to a shocking head at the explosive dress rehearsal. The next day, a dead body is found, and soon an arrest is made. In the run-up to the trial, two young lawyers sift through the material, so it's all emails, messages, letters. That's how this entire thing is told, with a growing suspicion that the killer might be hiding in plain sight. The evidence is there between the lines, waiting to be uncovered. So I love the idea that it is all told in that format, similar to the Illuminate series. So that caught my attention. Again, have not heard of this. And then I picked up The Stolen Hours by Alan Eskins. Alan Eskins, definitely love him, still love him, love The Life We Buried, probably one of the best books I've ever read. And it's another thriller by him. I didn't read the back. I don't want to read the back. I went by author alone on this one. So if you've read it, tell me what you think, but don't spoil it. So that was my Barnes & Noble trip. Oh, one more random Amazon grab that I did. This is the 12 Topsy-Turvy Very Messy Days of Christmas by James Patterson and Tad Safran. Sullivan House, Christmas Comes Alive. On the first day, a small beaked and feathered face pokes between tree branches. On the second day, 2 white doves burst from a gift box and fly around the kitchen. On the third day, 3 hens peck inside a garden that's been locked for 5 years. The ways of Christmas have always been mysterious. One family has 12 days to discover the true meaning of the season. I thought this would be a really quick read. James Patterson's are always quick reads for me, so I grabbed that too. All right, my amazing haul from my library. Here we go. Jodi Picoult's 10th Circle. I do not own this one. I have not read this one. It's one of the few backlists by her that I haven't read. Let's see. So we have Trixie Stone. She's 14 years old and in love for the first time. She's also the light of her father's life. Straight A student, freshman in high school who's pretty and popular, girl who's always looked up to Daniel Stone as a hero. Until that is, her world is turned upside down with a single act of violence. And suddenly everything Trixie has believed about her family and herself seems to be a lie. Really? Oh, okay, for 15 years, we have Daniel, her dad, has been an even-tempered, mild-mannered man, a stay-at-home dad to Trixie and a husband who's put his own career as a comic book artist behind that of his wife, Laura, who teaches Dante's Inferno to a local college. But years ago, he was completely different. Growing up as the only white boy in an Eskimo village, he was teased mercilessly for the color of his skin. He learned to fight back, stealing, drinking, robbing, and cheating his way out of the Alaskan bush. To become part of a family, he reinvented himself, channeling his rage onto the page and burying his past completely until now. Could the young boy who once made Trixie's face fill with light when he came to the door have been the one to end her childhood forever? She says that he is, and that is all it takes to make Daniel, a man with a history he has hidden even from his family, venture to hell and back in order to protect his daughter. Oh, Jodi's gonna wreck me. Then I picked up the Hotel Nantucket. Is this part of the Goodreads best books of the year? I believe it is, because I want to say I looked at that and then immediately I was at the library and saw this and I was like, well, I mean, if it's contender for best book of the year, I picked it up. I mean, it is the library copy, but we can take that off, no big deal. I also grabbed Songs of Willow Frost. This is by Jamie Ford, who also wrote Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet, which I just finished, and oh my goodness, it was beautiful. So this one basically follows our main character, 12-year-old William, who has been orphaned. He was orphaned years ago. He has had not great experiences within the foster care system. He has had not great experiences at the orphanage until one day I believe they go to see a play, and the lead singer, or maybe it's a musical, he believes is his mom, and so he goes through trying to prove that. Sounds like it's gonna wreck me just like Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet did. Then I picked this one up. Again, it was $1, you guys. This looks like it hasn't even been read. It's just brand new. So we have The Fallen Architect by Charles Belfort. He wrote The Paris Architect. So this one follows an architect who had designed a theater, and one of the balconies in the theater ended up collapsing and caused some hysteria and some deaths. He ended up being convicted as like it was his fault for how he designed it. And he went to prison. He ends up getting out of prison and starts realizing that it wasn't his fault and kind of goes on this quest to prove it. So sounded interesting. I believe, I was waiting for my daughter at the library because she takes a little bit and started reading it a little bit. So first off, it's short chapters, which I mean, you'll have me hooked right away if you give me short chapters. And it just from the very get-go, very interesting. And you also, there's maps, and I want to say there was another drawing I thought within here. But I mean, it sounds really interesting. So for $1, again, for $1. Jennifer Weiner's The Summer Place. Don't know anything about it. I do know I've been enjoying Jennifer Weiner books a little bit more. Thought this was a good summery one. We have, let's see, when her 22-year-old stepdaughter announces her engagement to her pandemic boyfriend, Sarah's shocked. But the wheels are in motion. Headstrong Ruby has already set a date, 3 months away, and spoken to her beloved Safta, which is Sarah's mother, Veronica, about having the wedding at the family beach house in Cape Cod. Sarah might be worried, but Veronica is thrilled to be bringing the family together one last time before putting the big house on the market. Oh, there's going to be some complications. I can feel it already. And then I picked up The Girl Before. I do already own The Girl Before, but the copy I have is really rough. Really, really rough. So for $1, I picked up this like brand new looking copy of The Girl Before. Now I just have to read it. So, and then my daughter found this one, Daughters of the Resistance, a World War II novel by Lana Korchkin. And this one takes place in Ukraine, which I thought was really interesting, 1943. So we have on a train to Germany. Lisa is terrified for her life, heading for one of Hitler's labor camps, taken from everything she holds dear. She wonders if she'll ever see her family again. The Nazi-occupied Kiev, which, like, it's in the news, you know. Irina could be arrested at any moment. Trapped in a job, registering the endless deaths around her, she risks her life secretly helping her neighbors while her husband has joined the resistance fighting the German advance. Both women's lives change forever when Lisa's train is intercepted by the resistance, Irina's husband among them. As Irina fights to protect her family, Lisa's forced to confront the horrors of war, and together they must make an impossible decision. So she found this and handed this to me, and she's been really interested in wanting to read some World War II books. She is only in 6th grade, so I've been trying to find her some decent ones without going too far down the rabbit hole. So that was all of that. I grabbed a few Pango books. At least one I know has already showed up. Girl in Disguise. I know I talked about this in my library haul. I still have the library books over here. By Greer McAllister. Kind of follows the first female detective. And this is an old library copy, but it was only a couple of bucks. So I picked up that because I'm really, the more I was thinking about those books, the more I wanted. Songs of Willow Frost is also on the pile too. So I've been getting lucky finding them as we go. All right, my book of the month books were, I don't remember if I hauled this one last time or not, but we have The Last Party by Claire McIntosh, which just came out. I'm so excited for this book. It says New Year's Eve, Rise, I think, has a house full of guests. His vacation homes on Mirror Lake are a success, and he's generously invited the village to drink champagne with their wealthy new neighbor. But by midnight, he will be floating dead in the freezing waters of the lake. And there's all kinds of suspects, so sounds great. We have Catherine Steadman. She wrote Something in the Water, which I loved this year. This is The Family Game. I just heard this talked about on the Currently Reading podcast, and I believe it was from this week, and I immediately want to read it. So this was by the couch because I want to pick this one up today. So a very rich, eccentric family, time-honored tradition, a lethal game of survivor, and it takes place like around Thanksgiving, Christmas time. So I thought this would be really great. I've been reading a lot of historical fiction, so I'm kind of ready for a little bit of a change. So that's going right back on the couch, and I'm reading that one. And then I picked up Jacqueline in Paris by Anne Ma, I think. Let's see. September 1949, Jacqueline Bouvier arrives in post-war Paris to begin her junior year abroad. She's 20 years old, socially poised, but financially precarious, and all too aware of her mother's expectations that she make a brilliant match. Before relenting to family pressure, she has 1 year to herself, far away from sleepy Vassar College and the rigid social circles of New York. Year to explore and observe the luminous beauty of the City of Light. Jacqueline is immediately catapulted into an intoxicating new world of champagne, art, avant-garde theater, cafes, and jazz clubs. She strikes up a romance with a talented young writer who shares her love of literature and passion for culture, even though her mother would think him most unsuitable. But beneath the glitter and rush, France is a fragile place still haunted by the occupation. She lives in a rambling apartment with a widowed countess and her daughters, all of whom suffered as part of the French resistance just a few years before. The aftermath of the war, Paris has become a nest of spies and suspicions, deception and betrayal lurk around every corner. Jacqueline is stunned to watch the rise of communism and anathema in America, but an active movement in France, never guessing she's witnessing the beginning of the political environment that will shape the rest of her life and that of her future husband. I thought that was cool. Okay, so then these are all the books that Amanda and Amber and Katie made me buy. So it's their fault, right? First up is City of Thieves by David Benioff. Pretty classic World War II historical fiction. We have the Nazis' siege on Leningrad, and Lev is arrested for looting and thrown into the same cell as a handsome deserter named Kolya. Instead of being executed, they are given a shot at saving their own lives by completing an outrageous directive: secure a dozen eggs for a powerful Soviet cardinal to use in his daughter's wedding cake. The city's cut off from all supplies and suffering unbelievable deprivation, and they basically go out to find a dozen eggs. So I've heard such good things. Another book from my pile of books that I borrowed from the library that sounds great, Transatlantic by Colin McCann. Talked about this in my last video. We have a couple timelines. Let's see. Newfoundland, 1919, we have two aviators, Jack and Arthur, set course for Ireland as they attempt the first nonstop flight across the Atlantic Ocean. And then Dublin, 1845 and 46, an international lecture tour in support of a subversive autobiography. Franklin Douglas finds the Irish people sympathetic to an abolitionist cause, despite the fact that a famine is raging. And then New York, 1998, leaving behind a young wife and newborn child, Senator George Mitchell departs for Belfast, where it has fallen on to him, the son of an Irish-American father and a Lebanese mother, to shepherd the Northern Ireland's notoriously bitter and volatile peace talks to an uncertain conclusion. 3 crossings are connected by a series of remarkable women whose personal stories are caught up in the swells of history. So I grabbed that. I also picked up Shutter Island. This is by Dennis Lehane. This one's supposed to be quite horror, very suspenseful, plot-driven, crazy town. So I believe it follows the escape from some people who live in a insane asylum. So I grabbed that. I can't remember where all of these are from, but we went to a couple different bookstores. We went to 2 bookstores in Winona, Minnesota. One of them, called Chapter 2, has a cat. Loved it. And then we went to 2 bookstores in La Crosse. So that's kind of where all of these are coming from. We have Notes on Silencing by Lacey Crawford. Oh, and we went to a Goodwill in Winona, which their books were like unbelievably cheap. Crazy cheap compared to Wisconsin prices. I don't understand the difference. Anyways, this was from the Goodwill. This is one that Amanda put in my hands. It's a memoir about a girl who attends an elite St. Paul school, and when it comes under state investigation about sexual abuse on campus, and she kind of is telling her story. I'm there. Let's see. I picked up Ray Drummond's memoir, so Frontier Follies. I love watching Pioneer Woman. I love Ray Drummond. I think she's a really great person. This book is like brand new. I don't think anybody ever has read it, but I'm excited to read that one. Really interesting book. This was from one of the stores, Paperbacks and Pieces is what it's called. It was a really cute store in Winona. This is The Hours Count by Gillian Cantor. So this is based on the true story of Ethel and Julius Rosenberg, who were executed in the 50s for committing espionage against the United States. And this is really follows the story of their neighbor Millie and how she kind of got involved and was seeing all of this, but I'm like, Cold War, espionage, yes please. So picked that one up. And short chapters. Picked up The Orphan Mother by Robert Hicks. This is actually the same author as The Widow of the South, which was just in another video I did, but kind of follows that book and follows the slave Mariah, who was in that book as she builds a new life for herself as a midwife to the women of Franklin, Tennessee. And let's see, but when Mariah's ambitious, politically minded grown son, Theo, is murdered, she finds her world once more breaking apart. So, pick that up. I also picked up Christmas Bells by Jennifer Chiaverini. I have a few books by her, and I thought this would be a perfect Christmassy read. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't help myself. I don't even know what it's about. 1860 Massachusetts. Family coming home to celebrate Christmas. I'm there for it. This one Katie said she read and thought was an interesting premise and thought I would enjoy it. So we have Do Not Become Alarmed by Maylee Malloy. So we have two girlfriends who decide to take their husbands and children on a holiday cruise. But when they go ashore for their adventure in Central America, a series of minor miscalculations leads the family further from safety of the ship. One minute the children are there and the next minute they are gone. Sounds like a ride. So let's see. Then we have These Girls by Sarah Pekanen, I don't know how you say it. It sounds like a group of roommates. I believe they live in New York. Yes. They're three very, very different women living together and kind of talks about their friendship and how they connect. So I thought that was a good one. We have The Orphans of Race Point by Patry Francis. So we have, let's see, at Provincetown, Massachusetts, there's a horrific act of violence that shatters this peaceful October night. The fate of 9-year-olds Gus Silva and Hallie Costa become inextricably entwined, told in alternating voices. It traces their relationship over the next 3 decades as they try to come to terms with the past. Childhood friendship evolves into something stronger, and when a terrible tragedy exhumes the ghosts they thought they'd put to rest, their dreams are abruptly destroyed. Destroy me. Just let's do it. I'm here for it. So I grabbed The Tuscan Child by Rise Bowen. I also have In Farley Field by the same author, so I don't know. Haven't read it yet, but why not? This actually takes place post World War II as we have Joanna, who's the daughter of Hugo. She returns home after Hugo passes away. He was a British bomber pilot. And as she's kind of going through her stuff, she comes across some personal effects in an open letter and learns about this woman named Sophia and the relationship they had. So I'm here for that. Let's see. If I Were You, this is by Lynn Austin. We have dual timelines, 1950 and 1940. So 1950, we have Audrey Clarkson she's kind of coming out of post-war England and is a widowed war bride. And so she decides to go to America to meet her American in-laws because she kind of needs their help and needs their support. When she arrives, though, she finds her long-term friend Eve has been impersonating her for the past 4 years. That sounds like a great friend, Eve, but sounds interesting. Whoops. We have They Went Left by Monica Hess. This is one, again, that Amanda put in my arms or in my hand. We have It's an Unforgettable Story, brimming with mystery, sorrow, love, and hope. Germany, 1945. Soldiers were liberated. The concentration camps of the war was over, but nothing feels over to 18-year-old Zofia. Her body and mind have barely begun to heal, and her life is completely shattered. 3 years ago, she and her brother were the only members of their family to be sent to the right, away from the gas chambers, when everyone else was sent to the left. Picked up 100 Crickets Singing. Look at this cover. This one, let's see, 1944 and 1861. So we have, let's see, a violent storm rips through the Belvedere Attic in Knoll Creek, North Carolina, exposing a hidden trunk, secrets dating back to the Civil War. Celia, whose family lives and works in the home, suspects the truth could transform the future for her friend Marshall, now fighting overseas, whose ancestors were once enslaved at that farm, or at that mansion. 1861, after her mother's death, Minnie works frantically to keep her household running and her family together. Her beloved older brother clings to his Union loyalties, while her hot-headed younger brother entangles himself in the family's finances with the Confederacy. So I'm there for that. And then also picked up Bridge of Scarlet Leaves by Christina McMorris. This one, she wrote Sold on a Monday, which I was reading at the time and was absolutely obsessed with. So grab this one. Let's see. Los Angeles 1941 violinist. Maddie's life seems destined to unfold with the predictable elegance of a Bach concerto. Then she fell in love with Lane, her brother's best friend. Lane's handsome, ambitious son of Japanese immigrants. And then it talks about internment camps, basically. So I thought very interesting, which also led me to read Hotel in the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. And then I do have 2 Book of the Month books that I picked up. Necessary People by Anna Potoniak. This is from May 2019. Let's see, one of them has it all, one of them wants it all. It's about 2 friends who have a little bit of too much of a competitive nature with each other and maybe go a little too far. And then we have Behold the Dreamers by Mbolo Mbui. This one's from 2016. We have a couple of immigrants, Cameroonian immigrants. They live in Harlem. They come to the United States for a better life. Husband and wife, we have Nenny and Jende, and their 6-year-old son. Let's see. He lands a job as a chauffeur clerk for Clark Edwards. He's a senior executive at Lehman Brothers. And Clark demands very high standards for employees, and no problem, he's here to please. They somehow get caught up in a lot of secrets and covering things up for the employer, and end up kind of in some trouble because Lehman Brothers doesn't do well in 2007. So they kind of get tied up in that. So I thought that was interesting too. When I was shopping for books, I was really picky about going on Goodreads and seeing ratings, and I refused to buy anything under a 4-star. So I have high hopes for a lot of these books because they passed that spot check. And super excited for them. So I just need to find some time to read. Anyways, if you've made it this far, congratulations. It's quite the book haul. Needs to be the last one for a while. So we're going to take a little break, which tends to happen about this time of year because we have holiday book exchange coming up and the holidays and all the fun stuff. So yeah, if you've read any of these or have them on your radar, comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Otherwise, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I'll see you next time.